If you're nervous because you haven't flirted with a woman in decades, the first thing I want you to do is go get in your car or walk down the street and go to a grocery store. And I want you to talk to every single person in the grocery store and just comment on what they're buying, maintain respectful energy, maintain respectful personal distance, but get out there and talk to people. Just start talking to people. It's a great way to just hold the energy internally of what flirting is. I mean, flirting doesn't have to be sexual, it doesn't have to be romantic. Flirting is simply having an inside joke with another person about the mysteries and love of life. My name is Craig Citizen, and I have a lifelong love affair with self-help. It started off early in my teens when I was a traveling musician, and I realized that I was not getting the kind of social interactions and dating and dates that I wanted to get. And so through utilizing all of the information that's out there in the world and a lot of self-introspection, I learned how to uncover the parts of myself that made me more attractive and try to reduce or eliminate the parts of myself that were, fluff and getting in my way. And what I can bring to someone who's just entering the dating field for the first time in 20 years or coming out of a long-term relationship is the identification of all of the self-sabotage that we do that can interrupt the natural flow of progression that leads to meaningful personal relationships with the opposite sex and also with anybody. The first thing that I want you to do is define what a fun night out with a woman is going to be, because I can almost bet that the first thing you're going to do is ask her to a dinner or some boring thing like that, which is what you're used to doing. Maybe it's what you did on your date nights with your ex. And to be honest, those things probably didn't work and weren't doing what they were supposed to, and may have even led you to this situation you're in now where you're separated. So the first thing I want you to do is identify within yourself what the hell you actually want to do with your time. Because for me, I can't think of anything worse than sitting down and interviewing a stranger over a $60 filet mignon. That to me sounds like a terrible time. What does sound like a fun night to me is walking through a nursery or a garden center and talking about things that I'm passionate about. Now, that may not be what you particularly like, but maybe you like to play baseball. Go invite her to the batting cages. It's a great opportunity to have a little keno and show somebody, some technique or the things that you're actually passionate about in your life. So I want you to get out of the mindset that a date equals X and get into the mindset that a date is just spending time with you, a valuable guy, doing something that you love doing. Lonely men make a lot of mistakes, and there are a lot of deceptive people in the world that are out there looking to take advantage of these kind of people. One of the first things that I would say to you if we were in a one-on-one coaching session, the first thing I'm going to do is reach over the table and smack you in the face and tell you to stop being lonely. State of mind. These are not winning states of mind. But I do understand that when you're in the tornado, when the storm is in, and you're feeling these grips and these pangs of loneliness, that emotion can become overwhelming and it can dictate our actions. So the mistakes that guys make is we act out of strong emotional places before we've done the internal thinking and the internal grounding to swim through that weather. If over texting, calling too much, offering to spend money, offering to, like I said earlier, offering to, a stranger a $400 or $500 date is very desperate behavior that a lonely guy will do because he thinks it might lead to romantic involvement or a sexual encounter. Don't do that. Put the phone down, go take a cold shower, go mow your lawn, call anybody you can, and slow the pace down so that you're not acting every time your heart beats and it hurts. The best way to explain your divorce or long dating app is to your friends. I'm not ever going to bring that up on a date. I'm not ever going to willingly offer this information out in the beginning of a relationship or when I'm meeting anybody, because it's not really important. We are talking about creating a new relationship, hopefully with a person. So we're starting on page 1. When I'm picking up the book and I'm starting on page 1, I don't want to read, a prologue about what happened in the past. We're starting fresh. It's As Genesis, let's create a new world together. Let's work on creating new experiences, and the past can be put away. That's part of the internal work and the coaching work that we're going to do before we start going on these dates. But, if a date pops up before you have the opportunity to take advantage of the coaching, the first thing I want you to do out there is internally tell that part of you that wants to go and rehash the past one more time to shut the hell up. It's over and it's gone. Call your buddies, call your best friend, your brother, your mom, your dad, whoever in the world you can talk to. Write it on a piece of paper and burn it if you want. But start these new relationships fresh and from scratch. She's going to love you for it. You're going to love you for it. And 2 years down the line, when you're holding hands walking in the park, this stuff is going to be a memory. Just like in the real world, when you're out on a tour, we have finite time and we have, finite resources and finite interactions. It Unfortunately, by nature of living in 3D and the way that the world works, these are the cases. So when you're out here, you need to remember that at a certain point, it is a numbers game. That's just something to hold in one hand. And you came on this tour to talk to as many people as you can. So utilize that. Really get out there and meet each and every person at these events, at the social events. And, don't get one-nitis, as we call it. Don't walk in there and, the first person that shows you any interest, you latch onto. I mean, that's exactly what we talk about with desperation and, overzealous, you're over-engaged because you think that you have something and you're afraid to let it go. That's not really empowered living. That's living out of scarcity and living out of fear. So when you're there and you find somebody that you really like, the absolute best thing you can do is to go talk to somebody else. And get more, meet more people, exchange more phone numbers, get out there and shake these hands, right? This is what it's about. And when you've met 10 people and you come back to your first one, you're going to have a lot better understanding of whether those emotions and feelings you had at the beginning were honest or not, or whether you were just super excited because you met somebody that liked you. Also, something else to keep in mind, you don't owe anybody anything. So just because somebody's nice to you one time doesn't mean that you owe them a dinner or that you owe them your attention for an hour or for another minute. These are things that we exchange freely through life, and love is one of those things. I'm really looking forward to meeting each one of you out here because it's the best way to move from these very broad questions that we're answering that may not fit you exactly. That's what the individual coaching is for. It's so that we can get in and talk one-on-one and get bespoke strategies. They're going to help you when you're ready to start developing your social dynamic skills and your interpersonal communication so that you can have the connections and relationships that you want to have and be your authentic self.